Yeah, Neeraj. Neeraj? Just a minute, we'll wait for Neeraj to join.
Yeah. So sorry, there was some lag in my connection, but I'm back. Uh, am I audible?
Yes, Neeraj, please go ahead.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for joining on this Saturday, 4th of July. Coincidentally, this is also the Independence Day of United States of America. So anybody having alignment with US, happy Independence Day. And yeah, so we are here for another session by FinTech Advisors. And this time it's a very interesting session on something of a research and an investment advisors and what research analysts do. I'm not a technical person on this, so that will be taken care of by Jivika and Anjali. Uh, but in FinTrack, we are very proud that every month we are bringing in some different sort of niche category topics. Like yes, last month we had a session on Gift City, which was attended by some close to 35 people. This time also we are bringing in a very niche category topic, which is research analysts and investment advisors. A lot of people, mostly practicing company secretaries and CA lawyers, they have issues with this being how do we get to register our client for this and what are the compliances, and that is why FinTrack thought that okay, we should be bringing these type of topics on board. And I'm very glad that Jivika and Anjali ji have they given the consent to take this session. We are also going to bring further more sessions, the details of which will be posted on our website and our WhatsApp chat group channel, the details of which will be shared in the chat. So without any further ado, I'll ask Jivika to introduce the topic and the speaker today. Jivika, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Neeraj. Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to today's session, Investment Advisors and Research Analysts, the Regulatory Landscape. The reason why we chose this topic is very simple. What we're seeing nowadays that more and more people are investing in the stock market. There are more and more retail investors are coming into the stock market. And at the same time, financial advice is available everywhere. You open the social media, YouTube, WhatsApp, Telegram channels. So though the access to this information has become very easy, but at the same time, there's a great risk involved. We need credible, qualified, and regulated professionals who should be giving out this information. That is where SEBI registered investment advisors and research analysts, they play a very vital role. So their registration, it may be a regulatory requirement, but at the same time, it gives a lot of credibility and professionalism and a lot of confidence to the investor who are listening to their advice. One more interesting fact is that India is having around 12 crores retail investors, but at the same time, the number of SEBI registered professionals, investment advisors are around 1,000 in number, and research analysts are around 2,000 in numbers, registered numbers, I'm telling, registered with SEBI. So by having a look at this number only, we can understand then there's a growing opportunity for professionals who wish to build a practice in this area. So therefore, it's becoming very important to understand the registration process, the eligibility conditions, and the compliance requirements for these professionals, and the practical challenges what they face while doing the registration as registered advisor, research analyst, or investment advisors. And this topic is not only important for finance professionals, but it's equally important for anyone who is looking to offer advisory or research services in the securities market. I'm sure today's session will give all of us practical insights into the registration of research analysts and investment advisors process and the compliance framework, while at the same time we'll also understand the opportunities available to us as professionals in this area. So with this, it's my pleasure to invite today's esteemed speaker, Mrs. Anjali Bansal. Anjali is a qualified company secretary She's a member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, a master in business policy and corporate governance, a law graduate, and a commerce graduate with over 9 years of experience. She has worked in various startups where she has gained considerable experience in the areas of investment, due diligence, private equity, acquisitions, etc. As a practicing professional, she has advised many corporates, startups, individuals through the complexities of business setup and regulatory compliance in India. She has got deep expertise in SEBI regulations and private equity matters, and she has successfully assisted numerous clients in procuring various SEBI licenses. She is also proficient in providing consultancy in the areas of Companies Act, FEMA, and RBI guidelines. I welcome you, Anjali. We are really glad to have you here today. And now I request you to kindly take the session forward.
Thank you so much, Jivika ma'am. Hello, everyone. So today's session, we will divide it into two parts. First, we will be completing the registration topic, wherein what all is the mandatory things that is needed to complete the registration process. And then we will have a quick Q&A, so that part is covered. Then we will move to the post-license registrations, post-license compliances, mandatory compliances, etc. And then for that lot of questions, probably we'll take it at the end of the sessions. So that is how we will just, kind of walk through the entire session. I'll just present my screen and then we will just start with the topic.
I request the participants, if they have any queries, they can put it in the chat box. And at the same time, when the speaker allows the participants to ask the questions, they can directly ask the questions.
Okay, so today's session would be mostly about the investment advisors and the research analyst registration, and what all is the preliminary requirement even before you want to proceed with the registration. And let's say once you have decided to get to the registration, then once you get your license, what all you need to do post-license. Okay.
Anjali, just one thing, just give a brief introduction. Who is an investment advisor and what is research analyst in brief?
Yes, ma'am, I'll come to that. So what happens is that the investment advisors, in a layman language, because this is what we get to hear, that there's a lot of confusion between people who is an investment advisor and who is a research analyst. Now, in a layman language, I would want to explain research analyst is basically one-to-many, which means that as a research analyst, you are only going to do the research on the stocks, prepare a research report, and then sell it to mass people on a subscription model. Okay. But what happens in IA, investment advisor, is one-to-one, which means that let's say if I am coming to you and you are a SEBI registered investment advisor, okay, you are going to do my risk profiling, and basis on my risk appetite, you are going to curate an investment portfolio for me and then give me the advisory. So the thin line, there's a very thin line of difference, but the term that we use for investment advisor is advisory. And for research analyst, we use recommendations. Why recommendation? Because we aren't really giving you an advice that you should buy this. You are giving a recommendation saying that this is our research. Now, if you want to buy, you have to do your own risk analysis. You have to take stocks basis on your own risk appetite. So this is a basic broad difference between both of them. So once, you have decided, once your client and once you have decided on how you want to go, whether you want to go to one-to-one type of a service where you want to, do the risk profiling of a customer and then give the advisory, you have to opt for the IA license. But if you say that, no, I just want to do my own research and sell it to people at Mars, then in that case, you will have to go for the RA license, which is the research analyst. Now, in the RA and IA, there are three categories of registration that you can take. One is the individual registration. Then comes your partnership registration, which basically it's individual and non-individual. Individual it would be individual people, sole proprietorship, etc. SEBI do have the concept of part-time license as well. Okay, but in case of non-individual, it is divided into either partnership firms, LLPs, or a private company. So you can take licensing either of them basis on how you want to take your entire journey. Now, the major thing where the roadblock is that the people don't know how to proceed with it. So the first thing that we need to kind of understand is the paperwork requirement, the preliminary requisite. The first thing that the individual have to know is that they will have to clear in ISM. For IA, it is 10A, 10B. And for research analysts, it's an ISM series 15 for the research analyst. Once the person has cleared that, and they will have to be at least a graduate, it can be in any field. So once these two things are there, then a particular person, a candidate is eligible basically to proceed with the license. Apart from that, what all is needed is the documentations that would be basically the ITR, the registered office address proof, PAN, Aadhaar, and if it's a corporate, then the company's MOA. Here, one thing very important to note is that the private companies, the MOA should permit. So a lot of people, miss this point, saying that, later on, once they file the application, they realize that the main object does not permit RA activities. So even before we proceed with the corporate, license, you need to ensure that your main object permits both IA or the RA activities, whichever you want to proceed with. How the paperwork works is that once your preliminary paperwork is sorted, that is your NISM is in place, your education degree certificate is in place, then your address proof documents, your memorandum, association, in case of individuals, 3 years of ITR. If it's an old company, then again 3 years of ITR is important. Net worth certificate. Earlier, there was the requirement for IAs, it was 50 lakhs, and for RAs, it was 25 lakhs. But currently, from last year, 2025 November, it has been waived off. So now there is no requirement of the net worth also. You can have, any amount of the amount with which you can start the your journey. But still, the net worth certificate would be needed. How the process works is that once your paperwork is ready, okay, you file an application with BSc. The first step for both IA and RA, irrespective of whether it is individual, partnership, corporate, whatever, the application will first go to BSc. Okay. Once the application goes to BSc, they will come up with queries. There would be nearly 2-3 times they'll come up with the queries and all for both the cases. Okay. And then once BSc approves the application, they will give you an in-principle approval, which means that they will raise the first payment challan. Okay. In case of individual, it is 15,000 plus GST. Also, in case of partnership, it is 15,000 plus GST. But in case of corporate, which is LLP and a private company, the first payment, the total basically the payment is 5,50,000 plus GST. Now, it is divided into 3 stages. The first stage is once when you get a SEBI approval, BSc's approval, that is where you get the in-principle approval, you make the payment for the application fees. In case of individual, you pay 2,000 plus GST. In case of corporate, you pay 20,000 plus GST. And then the application gets shifted to SEBI. Now, once the application gets shifted to SEBI, there is nothing much you can do. All the coordination that will happen will be between BSc and SEBI. If there is any query also, SEBI is going to write back to BSc and BSc is going to come back to us. We do not have any direct connect with SEBI here. And once your SEBI approves the application, then the 2 payment challan is generated. One is the registration fees for SEBI. For corporate, it is 30,000 plus GST. And for individual, it will be 3,000 plus GST. But for your BSc membership fees, it would be 10,000 plus GST in case of individuals and 5 lakh plus GST in case of corporates. Here, one thing is that you will have to create an FD, which is a lien creation in favor of BSc Limited, which will be of rupees 1 lakh up to 150 clients. So there is a slab that is there that you have to maintain. But initially, to begin with, since there would not be more than 150 client, the FD amount required would be 1 lakh. Once you make the payment of the FD, once you have made the payment for the membership, the registration fees and all, you will have to give this up. You will have to submit the proof of everything to BSc. Once BSc has received that, then within a week they will be issuing the SEBI registration certificate, And then after a week, they will be issuing you the BSc enlistment letter, which is basically a proof of the membership fees that you have paid. So this is basically the journey for getting the licenses. Now, what are the kind of important things that we will have to process? I have covered this part on the application process, how it needs to be done. Here, the major hurdle I would say, which practically currently people are facing, okay, is with respect to the principal officer in case of the corporate licenses that we do. One thing important to note here is that if it is an individual license, if let's say I want to become an investment advisor or I want to become a research analyst, I cannot be involved in other business activities. That is an absolute restriction by SEBI. So if let's say I am a director in any company, if I have a mutual fund license, if I have a sub-brokership or anything in my name, I will have to give that up. And only then I'll be able to apply for the license, both for IA or for the RA. Same when it comes to the corporate license, whomsoever will become the principal officer. Now, principal officer is the one who has cleared an ISM, who is basically responsible for that particular department of IA and RA. So that person cannot be a director in other entity. He should not be having any, personal other registrations, personal other interest. So what SEBI's intent is to completely protect the investor, saying that there cannot be anything else in the name. You will have to just be involved in that particular department. So that is, important to note. So yes, so this was till the registration process. Now anybody who has questions about the registration may ask. I would be more than happy to take the questions.
Okay, Anjali, I have one question. Like, can a young professional start this practice immediately after obtaining registration, or any kind of industry experience is required here?
No,
to
ma'am,
start?
there is no industry experience, ma'am. Earlier there was, but from January 2025, the experience has been done away with. So now, let's say there is a fresher who has just even become a graduate, have just got the graduation degree and have cleared the NISM, will be eligible for the license, both for the IA and for the RA.
Okay.
Can a practicing finance professional like a CA, CMS, CS become a practicing investment advisor or research analyst?
Okay, so here the concept of part-time RA comes in. So let's say if you are already a practicing CA, okay, or a practicing CS, and you also want to take either RA or IA license, you can only apply for the part-time license. Now, what is part-time license is that you will have to disclose to SEBI that you already are into other interests and you want to apply for the part-time license. There will be two differences here. The entire process remains the same, the criteria, the eligibility, everything remains the same. Two things is that if you are taking a part-time license, you cannot onboard more than 75 clients. Second is, wherever your communication goes, you will have to mention yourself as a part-time research analyst or a part-time investment advisor. You cannot use the total term of, SEBI registered investment advisor or research analyst. Third thing is that whenever you are raising an invoice, okay, for your other services, not for the RA or the IA services, for your other services, in your invoices, you will have to specifically mention that these invoices are being raised for non-SEBI related matters and no claim can be made to SEBI for any, discrepancies or any grievances raised against this invoice. So these three are the things, but definitely you will be able to do it.
And assuming this query, can a person who is into service practice as a part-time IA or RA?
Sorry?
Full-time service. Somebody is into full-time service.
Mm-hmm. Full-time job, you're saying?
Yes, employment.
Okay.
And can he practice as an IA or RA?
So here it depends upon what field he is in. Let's say somebody who is into a tech company and is an IT person doing an IT services which is not related to the market. Okay, that person can also take the part-time license provided they take the NOC from the employer. But let's say somebody is into full-time employment, let's say in Kotak Securities, for example. Okay, then that person cannot take a part-time license because his other activities is a conflicting activity. For that matter, somebody who is SEBI, let's say somebody who is AMFI, who already has a mutual fund distributor license in his name, he or she cannot take part-time license also because his other business activity is a conflicting activity. So we will have to keep in mind that whenever somebody who is in a full-time employment wanting to take the license, it is very important to check what is his current role in the particular organization.
Okay, thank you.
Also, for that matter, if let's say there is a listed company, even if it's let's say not from the tech, from the securities market background, but it is a listed entity. Okay, then also in that case, that person will not be allowed to take the license, even if they get NOC.
Okay, I have one query.
Yes.
What is the difference between MFD and AI?
Sorry, MFD and?
IA.
So MFD is a mutual fund distribution license, Nishan. So what happens in that comes under AMFI guidelines. So that is a separate registration altogether. You don't really give advisory on that, but you only sell mutual funds. But whereas in IA, what happens is that it is an investment advisory license that is first difference is that it is governed by SEBI. MFD is governed by AMFI. Okay. In MFD, you will only be allowed to sell mutual funds. But whereas in investment advisory IA license, what happens is that you will be allowed to recommend, advise on mutual fund. You would be allowed to advise on stocks, etc. Everything. Okay, and whatever asset allocation, financial planning, anything that you would want to do. So that is how it is there. Now in investment advisor, what happens? When if you are, let's say, advising on mutual funds, and also if you want to give execution services, you will only be allowed to do it under the direct schemes. Regular schemes would not be allowed. But whereas in mutual funds, you are allowed to sell regular schemes of mutual funds.
Okay. So basically, in investment advisory, I can charge fees from the client, and by putting the funds to the direct schemes.
Your voice is not very clear. Sorry.
In case of IA, I can charge fee from the client by putting their funds in the direct schemes, right?
Yes, but I see under direct schemes, I don't know, you won't be earning out of referral income as such, but you would be charging the, service fees to the clients
Okay,
that you
and
have.
And that service fees can be fixed or a variable, both.
Yes. So, okay, here one thing more I would want to add here with respect to the fees that you can charge to the customers. So in case of individuals, both for IA and RA, you can, for individuals, you can charge maximum up to 1.51 lakhs per year. Okay, and the fees can be taken in advance, maximum up to 1 year. Okay, but if let's say you have a corporate client, then there is no fee limit. You can charge fees basis on whatever is your agreed contractual terms. In investment advisor, there is one additional benefit is that for individual, it is 1,51,000. And for corporate, you can charge on basis of whatever you have agreed on the contractual term. Second option is that basis on the AUM, you can charge maximum up to 2.5% of the AUM from the customers. That is the two modes on which you can charge the fees in case of investment advisors.
Okay. Got it.
Anybody else has any queries? Okay, Anjali, I have one more doubt coming. I want to know, can any individual or entity can obtain both the registrations? And if yes, should they keep anything in mind before going for both the registrations? Because I feel the research is somewhat similar in both the cases, right? Either you sell it to one or you sell it to many.
Yes. So, yes, ma'am. In that case, both one individual, let's say if it is in case of an individual license, same person can be an investment advisor and the research analyst, provided they will have to ensure that the services are provided at an arm's length and there is no conflict of interest. In case of corporate, what happens is that a company is there, a company is applying for the investment advisor license, and there is one particular principal officer. Okay. Now they also want to, let's say, apply for the research analyst license. Now that person who has become the principal officer in case of investment advisor cannot be the principal officer under the RA department. They will have to appoint some other person as a principal officer for the research analyst. But in case of individual, it can be same person having both the licenses.
Understood. But and corporate can also have both the licenses, but the
Yes.
principal should be different for IA
Different.
division and RA division. That's all.
Yes. Department should be completely different, ma'am. The employees, the research department ka employees will be different. The IA ka department ka employees will be different. So that is how it is.
Okay. Fine, Anjali. Thank you.
Any more questions? Anyone?
I think, there are no questions as of now. You can
I will
continue.
move to the next topic. Here comes the most important part, which is the post-registration requirements, where a lot of people have issues in understanding ki karna kya hai, what they need to exactly do. So once somebody gets a license, there are 4 important registration, which we call it as post-license registrations, which is very important to do. One is the scores registration, then is the ODR, then is FIU, and then is the KRA registrations. Now, what is scores and ODR? Scores registration is basically you have to register yourself under the scores, and let's say when you are providing services and there is any grievance that the people may have, their scores is a platform where the investor, where your client will have the right to file a complaint against you, that they have incurred losses or whatever, they are not happy with the services and whatever. Now, what is ODR? Once, let's say the scores, somebody has filed a complaint in scores and there has been, a resolution for it, but they are not satisfied with the resolution, whatever the scores platform have provided. There is this opportunity where the people can move to the ODR. Now, what is the full form of ODR? It is online dispute resolution, which means that the turnaround of communication and all is pretty fast. Okay. So that is ODR. Now, let's say somebody is not happy with the ODR also. ODR ka bhi resolution se they are not happy. Then it goes for the arbitration, wherein you pay the arbitration charges. There would be a SEBI officer handling there. There would be arbitrator, there would be proper physical hearing that would be there. And you will, both the parties would be, sitting in front and trying to resolve what is the matter. And the arbitrator one will be the person who would ensure that the matter is resolved. Let's say there also, if the matter is not resolved, then the sole decision lies on the arbitrator to resolve the query. This is the role for scores and ODR. Now, what is FIU? FIU is basically related to the PMLA. FIU is Financial Intelligence Unit. So every IA, RA, be it individual, corporate, partnership, whatever, they will have to ensure that they are also registering themselves with the FIU. So it is basically that you just have to do the registration. Now, what is the role of FIU? So let's say if you are doing any transaction with any of your investor and you feel that the person is of a shady personality, or there is any, mistransaction, money laundering or whatever, you will have to ensure that you're reporting the same in the FIU. Mostly it does not come in the role of a RA, because RA ka role is mostly to just get subscription money and give the recommendations. That's it. It may come in the role of the IA, because there they are, kind of understanding the entire, financial history of a person. So the role for FIU is mostly for the IA, but then yes, since the PMLA policy mandates that all the SEBI registered intermediaries should have FIU registration, they will have to ensure that the FIU registration is done. Now, what is KRA registration? This is for the KYC. So every client that you are onboarding, you will have to ensure that you are doing the KYC of those customers through the KRA platforms. There are 4-5 KRA platforms. There is CVL, there is NDML, there is CAMS, then, so these are the, pretty much, active ones. So these are the 3 platforms that provide. There are many others also, but prominently these 3 are the ones that, usually people work with. So now, whenever you are onboarding any customers, you need to ensure that you are doing the KYCs of the customers. If you do not do the KYCs of the customers, that is non-compliance under the regulation. Okay. Then other important thing is that every IARA, okay, need to ensure that they have a fully functionable website. And the website should have every important thing as per the regulation in their website. So what all those will be? There would be disclaimers, there would be disclosures, escalation matrix, grievance redressal process, everything, investor charter, everything has to be there in the website. So the website, let's say, is just the face of the IA or the RA. And every year, the links are also sent to SEBI for verifications also when there are reporting, which we will talk a little later. So, website, there has to be a mandatory website that is there. Okay. Apart from that, the execution, the agreement execution. In case of IA, there would be a one-to-one. Since I have already mentioned that IA is basically, more of a one-to-one, there would be a one-to-one agreement between the customers that would talk about all the, terms and conditions, the fees, the services that you're providing, all the SEBI related termination clause, non-compete clause, whatever, everything that is there. Apart from the regular, mandatory legal terms, legal clauses like force majeure and everything, SEBI do have a defined set of, pointers that is there in the circulars. So that also specifically has to be mentioned in the agreement for the IAs. Okay. And SEBI has also introduced the requirement of the MITC, which is the most important terms and conditions. That also should form part of your agreement. Apart from that, you will have to include the services that you're providing, then the dispute resolution process, then all your disclosures. Let's say if there's a corporate entity who also has other business activities, the agreement should have a disclosure document specifying what all are the other activities which the company is in. And for the individuals, same, everything remains the same except for the disclosures in terms of other business activities that they have, because they're not allowed to do that. In case of RA, last year in January, SEBI has introduced the requirement of terms and conditions. Now, those terms and conditions are fairly similar to whatever pointers that is there in the IA, also the MITC. But the difference here is that in case of IA, you have a customized agreement which both the party signs. But since RA's model is little different, you don't really, do a one-to-one agreement, but there is a standard agreement that is there, which is signed by the RA. Okay, and then you just send it to the customers. They will have to sign it electronically. Both IA and RA also need to sign the agreements electronically or physically, whichever is the best suited mode, and they will have to revert back to the customer. Here, one thing I would like to highlight, how the agreements can be signed. So SEBI has specifically mentioned that the agreements can either be signed physically or, Aadhaar-based OTP, or any other electronically accepted mode, legally accepted mode. So those would be either phone OTPs or DocuSign, etc., whichever mode. But the agreements has to be signed mandatorily. One important thing again to note here is that until and unless your agreement is signed by the customers, you are not allowed to take the fees, both for the IA and for the RA. Once the agreement is signed, then only you would be allowed to collect the fees from the customers. Then you can maybe do the KYCs and all. Until and unless you do the KYC, you will not be allowed to start the services of the customers. That is a restriction there. Okay. The fourth important point is the risk profiling of the clients. This is only applicable in case of the IA. RA ke liye it is not needed, only for the IA. So now let's say if somebody is coming to you for the services, you have understood everything, you will have to ensure that you are doing a risk profiling of the customers. Now, risk profiling in the regulation itself, SEBI has specified that what are other important things that you need to understand to do the risk profiling of the customers. So it's a questionnaire that you can prepare basis on, the pointers that has been mentioned by SEBI, and you do the risk profiling on the customers. Basis on the risk appetite of the person, be it conservative, aggressive, moderate, etc. Only then you should be proceeding to provide the investment report to the customers. Okay, so that is how the entire structure would work. Apart from that, there are other important things that is there. One is the advertisement guidelines, though it is not post registration important things, but these are the other important things that is there. So every customers, every IAs, RAs who want to run ad, be it in social media or anything, they have to ensure that they are taking approvals from SEBI on the advertisement guidelines. Okay, so for individual, it is 3,000 rupees that they charge. For corporates, it is 6,000 that they charge, both for LLPs and private company. And for partnership, they charge 4,500. Now, maximum up to, maximum up to 3 creatives can be permitted, when you are taking an approval from SEBI. From BSE. So once that is approved, only then you will be allowed to make the publications. And what else is there is that the creatives that you would be posting would be valid up to 180 days. So only up to 180 days you can be allowed to do that. Now there is an exemption, because people do ask me that, ma'am, we do not want to basically take approvals every time, because that is the delay, because BSE also takes time to approve the ads. What are the exemptions there? So now in terms of exemptions, what happened is that, let's say if you are posting educative content, then the registration, then the approval from BSE is not allowed, is not required. So you can simply post blogs, educative contents, etc., and you can skip taking the approvals from BSE on the advertisement guidelines. Okay. Apart from that, there are annual compliances, mandatory ones that needs to be done. So one is the annual compliance audit. Now, annual compliance audit is same for both IAs and RAs. The due date is 30th of September every year. So all, either CA, CS or CMA are allowed to do annual compliance audit for the customers, for the clients, for the IAs and the RA. Now, what do we see in the annual compliance audit? In the annual compliance audit, we check their eligibility, okay, in terms of whether their NISM is active or not, which we talked about earlier, that they need to have 10A, 10B for IA. And for RAs, they need to have Series 15. So you need to check if that is expired, that is valid, etc. Okay, basis on that, it would be complied, not complied, that you have to put. Then you will have to see that their SEBI registration is valid or not. Then you will have to see if they have created the FD or not, the 1 lakh FD that I have talked about. Now here, one thing that you will also have to see is the client, how many clients that they have. And now let's say the basis on the client that they have they updated the FD or not, basis on the slab rate that is there. That also is something that you will have to check. Apart from that, you will have to see if their reportings and all are done or not. Then whatever records that they have maintained, that also is something that you will have to ensure. Now here, important thing that, I think I missed putting in the slide here, but I would want to highlight here is the maintenance of the records, okay, which we will be basically seeing or checking during the annual compliance audit. You need to ensure that the customers are maintaining the register of the clients, the customers are maintaining the research reports duly signed and dated, the customers are maintaining the investment report duly signed and dated. Most of the people, most of the problem that we have seen during the audit is that they do not have properly signed and dated reports. Okay, so that has to be properly maintained. Then all the KYCs of the customers has to be properly maintained. Okay, so these are the few important things that cannot be missed. And during the annual audit, then we do. If these things are missed, that goes as a non-compliance. Okay, that thing is very important to note. Now coming to the timely reporting. So in the website also, you will have to ensure that you're putting the disclosures for the audit reports. And you have to ensure that you are doing the annual audits by 30th of September. And let's say there is any non-compliance or not complied pointer, SEBI gives you a buffer of 30 more days to fix those things. So any IA, let's say if there is any not complied points that is there, they can take 30 days time to fix those issue and submit an ATR, which is an action taken report to in the portal. And those submissions, everything is there in the BSE portal only.
So, Anjali, first we'll file the report with the qualifications
Yes.
with the SEBI, and then we'll rectify whatever is possible, and then again file one action taken
Yes.
report like that.
Yes. That is how it is done, ma'am. Then apart from that, you will have to ensure that the NISM. So now what happens, let's say somebody's NISM is getting expired. You will have to ensure that you are renewing it 30 days, 3 months before the expiry. So SEBI has come up with the new NISM exams that is, for the renewal. So earlier what used to happen that once your NISM is getting expired, you will have to give a fresh exam where all those negative marking and all are there. And it is a possibility that you might not clear the exam, if you're giving it for the next time. So what SEBI has done is that for IAs and RAs both, they have liberalized this thing, and they have told that if your NISM is getting expired, you do the renewal exam, and that would be it. Okay. Apart from that, maintenance of fixed deposit is very important. You will have to ensure that your fixed deposit slabs are maintained at all times. Whenever you are changing, whenever your client are exceeding, the slab rate, you will have to again, top up the FD amount. The maximum of that is 10 lakh rupees. That is above 1,000 clients. So whenever you are touching 1,000 clients, the FD has to be changed to 10 lakh, and that is the maximum. So whatever amount that you have above that is okay. This is basically a replacement of the net worth requirement that was earlier, and now it is just 10 lakh for everything. Okay. Then proper fees disclosure and also your website and all. There cannot be any hidden cost. There cannot be any manipulative thing. Those things you will have to ensure that it is done. And all the client communication, all the SEBI communication has to be kept on record. So these entire thing, where is the check? SEBI does not come and check it directly. This everything which is being maintained will be the part of the annual compliance audit that you do. And basis on that, all the marks and everything is going to go. Okay. Then is the half-yearly reporting, which is SAS and periodic reporting. That is there. That is again very important, and it cannot be missed. Okay. Now, what is SAS reporting and what is periodic reporting? It is basically done twice a year. Okay, for the period till September 2020, let's say for any year September, the due date is October 30th. And for period ended as on 31st March, the due date would be 30th of April. What does SAS talks about? SAS, anything that you are using as a software, you will have to disclose it to SEBI. Now that what includes, let's say if you are, you have tied up with any third-party platform for the services. Or let's say you are using Gmail. If you are using, of course, Gmail is something that everybody uses. So those things also has to be disclosed in the SAS reporting. So whatever software that you are using, MS Office, Gmail, any, websites for doing your research, everything. So all the platforms, all the tech solutions that you are using, you will have to disclose it to SEBI in the SAS reporting. Now, what is periodic reporting? Periodic reporting is basically to, give every detail about you to SEBI on a half-yearly basis. What does it contain? It will contain the details about you. It will contain the details about the number of clients that you have. Okay, then whatever is your social media places, those links will go. Then whatever places where you're providing the services, all the links will go. Your website link is going to go to SEBI, in the BSE portal. Then whatever fees that you have collected, that is again going to go. What is your FD that you are maintaining currently? How many active clients you have? How many clients left during the period? What is the current active clients that you have? So those entire detail is going to get submitted to BSE. Now, where do you do this reporting? All this reporting, everything happens in the BSE portal. Okay, so once when you log into the portal, you get the place, there is a tab where you do the reporting there. okay, on half yearly basis. Same with the periodic reporting, you do the reporting there. Same with the annual compliance audit for both IA and RA. The filing will be done in the BSC portal, and let's say there are any non-compliances, then within 30 days of the period, you will have to, ensure that you are submitting the ATR. Now here, let's say somebody has not done the ATR also, and there is a non-compliances. There is a high chance that there will be BSC inspection happening, and whatever is the non-compliances and all, then the fee, the penalties and whatever would be charged basis on the non-compliances that is there. And so yeah, so that is why it is very important that anybody who is getting there, any IARA who is getting the annual compliance audit, gets it done from a qualified, competent professionals, because somebody who knows the law very nicely will be able to conduct this audit properly, because it's a very big thing that SEBI is already giving you 30 days to fix the problems. Okay, and so that is very important to note that, if SEBI is giving us the time to fix it, we need to ensure that we are doing it properly. And compliances in SEBI and, with respect to the regulations are taken very, very seriously. A single non-compliance. Now, this is not to afraid or, frighten any of you, but then compliances are taken very, very seriously in the, entire both IA and RA regulations. And currently also how practically things are working is that BSC and SEBI have become very, very strict in terms of giving the licenses, in terms of compliances and everything. And they've also defined, the penalties that they would charge for each of the cases. So that is one relief that is there, but still the compliances, the non-compliances are, the chances of non-compliances should not be there. You need to ensure that the compliances are done very nicely. With this, I think I have tried to cover everything, here. Anybody who has questions may ask. I would want, you can take time, think about the questions. It can be any kind of questions. I would be more than happy to help, and answer it.
Anybody has any questions? Okay, Anjali, this registration, IA and RA registration, it's valid for how many years, or it's valid till cancelled? What is the?
Okay, so here, your name is Priyanka.
No, I'm saying.
Okay, Jivika ma'am. Okay. So basically, this is valid for a period of, the license you get, it's perpetual.
Okay.
Okay, it is not cancelled. But the renewal is done every 5 years. So let's say when you're paying that 10,000 and 3,000, that has to be paid again after 5 years. And in case of corporate, it is 5 lakh and 30,000. 20,000, since it is the application fees, you don't have to pay that renewal again. But 5 lakh and 30,000 has to be paid as a renewal fees again.
So at the time of renewal, do they again ask for these many documents?
No. What they will do initially, 3-4 years back, we had to actually do the entire process again. But now what they have done is that they will simply send you an email with the payment link and challan, and you will just have to make the payment. They will only compute the amount also for you, that this is what you have to pay. You don't really have to do anything there.
Okay, understood. And this NISM is valid for, that also is valid for 5 years, NISM certification?
NISM certification is valid for 3 years, ma'am. Whenever
3
you give
years.
the exam, the validity will be mentioned in the NISM certificate.
Okay.
Yes, the validity would be mentioned clearly, and everybody need to ensure that at least before 3 months you apply for the renewal of the NISM certificate. One thing here I would like to highlight, let's say somebody has expired the NISM and have not renewed also. Then they will have to give fresh exam, which means again they'll have to go through the entire route of, the negative marking and all. Until the time you clear the exam, you will not be allowed to continue with the services. The services has to be paused.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, Harita.
Ma'am? Yeah, good afternoon, Anjali ma'am.
Good
I
afternoon.
have a very basic question.
Please ask.
I missed the initial stage of that presentation. I joined lately.
Okay,
Sorry
ma'am.
for the same.
No problem.
some of the companies would be not advising, but they might be doing the wealth management of the certain individual or the corporate portfolios.
Mhm.
So when and to whom this particular registration and would be applicable, and where they can still not be applicable, is that kind of a scenario is possible? Or where
Okay.
do we have to draw the line? Okay, from this stage onwards, these parameters are applicable mandatorily for them to do this registration.
Okay, great question, ma'am.
Yes.
I'll answer this. I'll answer
Yes,
this in stages. Okay. Let's
Yes,
say,
ma'am.
when you're talking about drawing a line.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a license. I am giving the registry. I am giving my research reports to, let's say, everybody present here. Okay. I am okay with the RA license. I don't need IA. I don't need PMS.
Mm.
Okay. Because I am
Yeah.
simply doing research on my stocks and giving it to people at mass. That is it.
Mm.
But if, let's say, I am giving specific, advisory to you basis on your risk appetite, okay, that is where I am going outside the purview of my RA activities. That is where I would be needing IA license. RA license is not going to serve my purpose. Okay. There I am doing your risk profiling. I am giving you advisory and everything. But the portfolio is the execution of the portfolio is done at your end with your consent and everything. I am not managing your funds. I am giving you an investment advisory report, and basis on that, maybe I can help you with the execution part, but I am not managing your funds. The moment you say that, no, I also want to manage the funds of the customers, along with the advisory, that is where you are again going out of the purview of the IA regulation also. That is when you will have to go for the PMS license. Yes, where you want to do wealth management, is basically fund management for customers. That is where you are going outside the purview of the IA license also. That is again, then, when you go for PMS, the requirement is completely different there. You need to have a net worth of 5 crore, ticket size per client would be 50 lakhs and also those things. So that again goes out of the purview of the IA license.
Is there a separate certification for wealth management
Yes.
course?
So you will have to, when you are doing, so let's say for RA it is 15, for IA it is 10A10B. Okay, for portfolio managers, there's a separate NISM exam that you have to give, which is for the portfolio managers. So NISM ka exam that is there for the portfolio managers, which is different again. So the requirement, the preliminary requirement and all for portfolio managers are very, very different from that of IA and RA. IA and RA currently has been kept on par, in terms of qualification and everything. Only the certifications are different. But PMS requirements are absolutely different. It's completely different.
Ma'am, your presentation is covering all this to understand for us.
PMS?
Your presentation is covering already all these things.
PMS and all is not covered, Harita.
Okay.
Mostly I have tried to keep it, quite basic only, because I wanted to do more of a talking rather than putting it on, black and white here. But if you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to Jivika ma'am or me, or
Because it is a little new subject for us, and it may take some time to understand what we are talking, what we are understanding actually. So definitely from there we could start with, and I will connect with Jivika ma'am. Thank you so much.
Surely, Harita.
Yeah, thank you, Harita. Anjali, we have seen recently SEBI has passed few orders against IAs and RAs. So, like, what happened?
What SEBI has passed, ma'am?
Orders against IA, people who are carrying on IA and RA activities. So, did they not take the registration? Or can you just throw some light on that, which will give people an idea like what they should not be doing if they want to pursue these activities?
Okay. Ma'am, most of the fine, I'll really want to talk about this here. One is the unregistered activities. Okay. What happens? SEBI is very, very adamant. SEBI is very, very, strict about the unregistered activities. Now, what happens? Most of the orders, if you see, there are people providing unregistered activities, which means they have not taken the license and they are doing advisory, mostly those would be influencers and all those people. Okay. So what SEBI does in that case, they take very strict actions. They will levy penalties, and whatever fees that you have taken from SEBI, people, you will have to refund those fees. So one clear case to it's there that they don't have license and they are providing recommendations or advisory. That is the clear violation of the rights only, and investors might be defrauded, etc. Second issue, you have also must have seen most of the cases that people who already have the license, still they are, orders are passed against them. Why that happens is that they are not complying with the laws. Like I mentioned, if there are any non-compliances, you have to ensure that you are fixing those things. If you have not done that, then it is a problem. So there also, in my experience, what I have seen, ki SEBI does not directly give you penalties. Most of the cases, if there are not any severe non-compliances, okay, they will just give you a warning letter. Even after that, if you have not taken the regulation seriously, if you're not doing compliances properly, that is where they are going to do the inspection, and that is where they are going to levy penalties on you.
Okay.
And how now the amount has been defined. How it usually happens is that they will come for inspection. Okay, they simply cannot send you show cause notice or anything. What happens? They have their own strategy to work around it. They will do the inspection. They will ask you to submit all the documents. Then they will try to find the loopholes and all. Then they will ask you justification for those things. Only then, the orders are passed if the non-compliances are huge. For small non-compliances and all, they will just give you a warning letter and they will leave. That's it.
SEBI doesn't do routine kind of inspections. It's very ad hoc.
It is ad hoc. And mostly what in my experience I have seen is that, there is kind of a period where they do, and they let's say, kind of have a cutoff of like these many registration they will have to do the inspection. And then they can have a surprise inspection, or inspection also can be of two types. Either they are coming completely, uninformed. In your registered office, one thing, they will only come to your registered office. So anybody who is taking the license need to ensure that they are taking the license in the place where they are available. So that is important. Okay. Then this is there. Apart from that, they will either inform you and then they will come. So they will send an email that they're coming for inspection and all, etc.
Okay. So Anjali, there's a query in the chat box. Can you please repeat the basic certification requirements for RA and IA, NISM certification?
Okay. So for NISM IA, it is, I will just, for NISM RA, it is 10A, 10B for investment advisors and a minimum of a graduate in any field. For research analyst, it is NISM series 50. So this would be available if you go to just NISM website and just type these things, maybe in Google also, you will find the certification links there. And this exam happens every 15 days. So, and it is a physical exam. You will have to go to the center and give the exam.
So Mr. Abhikumar, I think your query has been answered. Okay. So, and Anjali, one more thing, like anybody who is planning to go for these registrations, what would you like to say to them? This or all the things what we have discussed today may seem little overwhelming for them, like pre-registration, post-registration, compliances. So what would be your advice to them?
Okay, ma'am, here I would really like to advise one thing is that nobody should think about it in wholesome. Because otherwise, in that case, nobody would be, proceeding with the license for sure, because the compliances are there. And that is in, basically keeping in mind the interest of the investors. The compliances are there, but you need to go step by step. Okay. Then how you need to decide this question I have been asked many times during my queries also when I do consultancy calls. That time what happens, it is very important to first identify whether you should go with the individual license or a corporate license. If let's say you don't want to, you just want to do this single job, okay, just as a advisory or as a research analyst, and you don't want to make it that big and want to make it quite closed and don't want any other registrations and all, you can go for the individual license. But let's say if your vision is something different, if you want to make it big, if you want to take other licenses as well in, under this thing, then mandatorily I would suggest that you should go for a corporate license. Of course, the fee limit is little different there, but then if that 5,50,000 is not a constraint, then I really suggest people to go for the corporate license and not for the individual license. Because what happens, I have seen in cases that people, they have taken individual license, okay, unknowingly on a very, like haste, and then they realize that, oh, they cannot do this. Then they will have to again surrender this license and then apply for the new license. So it's a waste of money and waste of time and energy for everybody. So before even jumping to take the license, you need to ensure, you need to make up your mind and have a roadmap on how you want to proceed with that license.
It can be either LLP or company, private company.
Private company, anything.
Partnership?
That depends. Partnership firm is also allowed, ma'am, but partnership ka fees is same. Hence, SEBI sees partnership firm at par with the individual license.
Okay.
Yes. So when you're talking about partnership also, you will not be allowed to do other activities there. Other
Understood.
activities are only allowed in case of corporate LLP and a private company.
Understood. Okay. So anybody has any other questions to ask Anjali?
Ma'am, I have one question. Basically, it is not related to completely relates to the topic, but what I want to know is, if suppose I don't want to take a certificate or examination, where can I read for this RA thing? I want to go through the concept only, because I cannot go to that thing, because that will be misleading sort of thing, because I am into my CA thing, and I am MFD also. So how can I go through, like read, like, get the document for that?
What document you're talking about?
For reading that, what is the course and all?
Course, NISM
I really
courses
want to
you're talking
study.
about?
Okay. So for that, I need to clear, or I need to register to NISM course?
Yes, you are
For
talking
RA?
about NISM Series 15 course you're talking about?
Yes.
Then you will
Probably
have
he
to
wants to
visit it.
acquire knowledge only.
Then you can get the material and all from the NISM website only.
It's free of cost. You can just go and download.
Yes, and if you want to appear for mock test and all also, there is a link for Pass for Sure. There is one link wherein, I think you have to pay some hundreds of rupees to get the mock papers. So Pass for Sure is one that you can use.
Okay, ma'am. And one more thing. What is your experience that after clearing that exam, what percentage can I be like for RA? Actual mein, there is a lot of research required for any script. So by clearing any exam, can I really become that authentic person, or
See,
it will come by virtue of experience?
No, so what happens is that, your in ISM, there is a criteria you need to get 60% to clear that in ISM. Now, even
Okay.
if you're getting 90%, even if you're getting 100% does not matter. If you have cleared NISM, which means you have the certificate, that's it.
Now, that is the theoretical part. What about the practical thing?
That is the practical
Like,
thing.
Once I have cleared this exam, actually I can be an authentic research and RA person, or it will come by virtue of experience.
That is, no. Once you have cleared your NISM Series 15, okay, then you will have to apply. That is a prerequisite. That is what I told in my slide, the first thing, that NISM is a prerequisite. You cannot start giving RA services just by getting the NISM certificate. Once you have cleared the NISM certificate and you have a graduation degree certificate, then you will have to apply for SEBI for the license. Only once when you get the SEBI certificate is that you're not allowed to provide services.
Anjali, what he's trying to ask, just by clearing the exam and then suppose there's a very fresher graduate, they have given the NISM exam and now they have started giving the research recommendations. So do you think that giving the exam is enough, or they need to come with some background experience? Though SEBI doesn't mandate it now. That's
No,
what
it
his
does not,
question
huh?
is.
Yes,
As
yes,
per
yes.
our
There is no
education.
experience required. No, somebody who is a fresher, I think I've already told this thing earlier also. Somebody who is just a graduate also and have cleared NISM, there is no, experience requirement. Earlier it was there, but now there is no experience requirement. Anybody who is a fresher also can apply for the license.
Okay. Fine. So Anjali, before we close this session, I have 2-3 questions for you again regarding this session. And Mr. Nishant, before we close this session, can I ask you to give vote of thanks to Anjali?
Yes, ma'am. First of all,
Let me
on
finish the
behalf of
questions. First, let me
uh,
finish the questions, then I'll come back to you.
sure.
Let me just finish the questions. Okay, Anjali. So in your experience, when people apply for the registrations, what are the common mistakes that you have seen in the registration documents that people generally make and they should avoid?
Okay. Just 1 second, ma'am. I'm so sorry. Just 1 second. Just can you
Yes.
give me a moment, please? I'll just come
Yes,
back. That
Yes,
possible?
yes.
Okay. Just give
Yeah,
me
yeah,
1 minute. So
please.
sorry about it, ma'am. Just 1 second.
No, that's fine.
Jivka ji, very good presentation, very good program. Same, can we download the NSM and material on
Yes, sir.
PMS or any other course without registering with NSM?
Sir, I recently downloaded for social auditor. So I know that I just went on the website and I downloaded the course.
Yeah, that is, but you're already a social auditor, so that's why.
No, I am not a social auditor. I have
Okay.
to give the exams. So for that purpose only I downloaded. So by that logic, I think it should be easily, freely downloadable and
I think
available.
earlier the stipulation was, the rule was different. Once you register with
Yeah.
NISM,
Before
paying
any
the
NISM
examination fee,
materials
then
are
only
mostly available.
you were allowed the access to. Okay. Yes. Actually, I too downloaded the social order exam for renewing my certification
Okay.
because I was already a
Yeah,
social
sorry.
auditor earlier.
Okay. Nice, sir.
Yes, Jivika, ma'am.
Yeah, Anjali.
Sorry.
So to my last question, what are the common mistakes which you see occur during filing the registration documents with the BSc and SEBI? What are the common mistakes which people tend to make in the applications?
Okay, ma'am. One is that common mistake is that people filing application with provisional degree certificates or the mark sheets. Okay.
Okay.
That is not allowed. Proper degree certificate would be needed. Okay. Then a few people, make mistake of currently what the thing is that SEBI has, kind of in their documents done away with the requirement of ITR and net worth requirement. But if we see practically while filing an application, it is still a requirement. Okay. So those things, they file the application without it, and then, it keeps coming for query and all. So that thing is there. Other thing which, one need to avoid is that the bank account problem. So what the common problem happens is that in case of mostly that is in case of sole proprietorship registration. So you apply for the, sole proprietorship registration, you have got your shops and establishment license and you've done the registration. The problem arises at the time of creating the FD. Okay, because your FD has to be with the name of the sole proprietorship firm. Okay, but currently I think that the banks do not create your current account if you don't have GST numbers, or let's say if you don't have SEBI registration certificate. Okay, so there has been cases where the people, they don't take the bank, they don't create the bank account upfront before making an application. And then they keep on hanging. They just keep running here and there with different banks to create the current account. So anybody who wants to take a sole proprietorship license and should ensure that their current account is created first, only then proceed with the license. If not, then at least apply with the individual license, take the SEBI registration certificate, then you can apply for the conversion of the name.
Okay.
So that is one thing. And other important thing is to, SEBI keeps updating their checklist requirement and everything. So documentation and all has to be very, very clear. Other important thing, which abhi 2-3 mahine se SEBI has become quite strict about, is that your social media presence. Somebody who is already, an influencer showing charts and all in their social media platforms, SEBI is doing scrutinies for them as well. So if they find that you're already providing such services, they will instantly reject your applications.
Okay.
They will
So
not
you
even give you a chance to submit the query. They will instantly reject your application. And one other important thing is that people, they feel that ki SEBI ko pata nahi chalega, and they try to conceal the facts. Okay. SEBI, we don't even know how many modes and means they have to, find out about our other, source of incomes and etc. So you cannot hide the facts from SEBI, be it if your CIBIL report is not good enough, or let's say if you have other registration, other source of income, etc. They will be easily able to find it out. So so these few things, they do not take it very lightly. They will instantly reject your applications.
Okay. So we have to state true facts while making the application with SEBI. That we have to be very clear
That
about.
cannot be compromised at all, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So one last question from my side, Anjali. As we are seeing, SEBI is increasingly watching this space and trying to, control and regulate unauthorized analysts and advisors. So how do you see this opening up an opportunity for professionals like us, CA, CS?
So, ma'am, see, there is a huge opportunity, I would say, okay, in terms of CS and CS wanting to take license themselves, okay, or providing services to the customers. Because like you've already mentioned, at the start of the session, that there are very limited people right now. Our population is such huge, and only 1,000 IAs and 2,000 RAs basically is not going to be sufficient enough, So hence, there are a lot of opportunities. Keeping this thing in mind, SEBI has also introduced part-time licenses for professionals like us, like you, like me. Even if since I have a COP, if I want to, cater to people, I can go ahead and take a part-time license also, though there is a client limit. So there are a lot of opportunities. And yes, if you yourself see the ratio of the current registered people and the population that we have, we can do the math that there are huge opportunity lying ahead for us to do the registration. Only thing that one need to ensure is that to give time to something.
Okay. Yes. Understood. So we have to get ourselves more acquainted with the SEBI provisions and all. And then I think we can go out there.
Yes,
and grab
ma'am.
this
And also in
opportunity.
terms of providing services to people, because I believe that most of them are CA and CSS over here. Okay, this is something which is growing. RA may also, there are a lot of professionals already providing the services. There are a lot of opportunities still left to tap the market. So anybody who is wanting to, take clients, provide services and all, want consultancy also, and want to understand, or if they want to, cater to any client and all, feel free to do. There is absolutely a lot of opportunities that is there. And abhi bahut zyada log aaya nahi, ma'am. It's not there. There are not much people providing such services.
And what I felt from today's session is for people who are getting into these areas of activities as an analyst or an advisor, they will really need hand-holding, because it's not easy for them to also understand, the entire registration process or the compliances pre-post associated with it. So they
It is not.
definitely need professionals, and as professionals, this is a great opportunity for us. At the same time, we can really help our clients.
Yes, it is not possible, ma'am, because I have seen, in my experience, more than 80% of people who have tried making an application on their end, by themselves, has ended up with, rejection comments. Because they don't really understand, because we do this thing day in and day out. We know what SEBI wants, how SEBI is functioning, what do they exactly want. But somebody who is just, trying out for themselves, or let's say a professional trying to do it first time for the client also, the process is such that, there has to be somebody who has an experience. Now coming to the post license also. SEBI regulation has changed, upside down in last 2 years. So somebody who's trying to work around with the post license thing on their own is also, definitely they are going to miss out something or the other.
True.
It is practically not possible to be 100% compliant on doing things on your own.
True.
Yes, that is there, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anjali.
Thank you so
Now,
much, ma'am.
anybody has any other query? Okay. Now I'll request Mr. Nishant to propose a formal vote of thanks to Anjali.
Thank you, ma'am. On behalf of all the audiences, we are thankful to you because, first of all, being a CA, I was also not aware about the difference in the RA, IA, MFDs, and you clearly told what are the differences, what are the registration process, regulations, and the fee criteria. So this will be helpful for the audiences to actually know and register the proper channel where they want to work, and what are the registration processes and regulations which they have to follow. And that is the best thing about your presentation, that each and every subject and topic was clearly updated. Thanks a lot for that.
Thank you so much, Nishant. Thank you, Jivika ma'am. Thank you, Neeraj, for giving me this opportunity to take this subject to, more and more people, because I do still feel that there is a lot of opportunity where a lot of people like us can, help many people who are, aspiring to become, SEBI registered professionals, and provide and help more people more people to, get touch with the securities market, because we still know that the financial literacy in India specifically, is not that very much till now, so there are room of lot of opportunities that we still have and we still have to do. And as professional, I personally feel that we have that responsibility also to, serve and to help people who are not aware of such things that exist. Because I believe that a lot of people who are unregistered may not be even aware that there is something called registrations with SEBI that is needed. So it
True.
becomes our responsibility also to explain them and guide them that, boss, you cannot do it like this. You will have to go through a formal route. Because there are a lot of people who just feel that in ISM de diya and we are done. No, it's not like that. In ISM de diya, then there is another whole lot of process that you will have to do. So, as a professional, so wherever anybody who feels that, they need support, guidance, or they want to serve the client and all, they can definitely reach out to me, to Jivika ma'am, and everybody, whomsoever is part of this thing to, so that is all. And thank you. It was really a great session today. I really loved, answering all your questions and taking, through this entire journey of investment advisors and research analysts. Thank you so much, Neeraj. And thank you so much once again, Jivika ma'am, for reaching out to me, for taking up this session.
Anjali ji, एक question it is
Please.
coming to my mind.
Thank you,
Suppose I
Anjali.
take up
Yeah, Mr. Nishant, go ahead.
if suppose I take up NISM 15 series exam, then can I put that certificate in my cabin sort of
Yes,
thing?
you can put that. But then आप उससे advisory recommendations नहीं दे सकते.
I'm not going to give any
Certificate
advisory.
लगा
I
दो.
just need to put that
Yes,
certificate.
not a problem. That you can do that.
Okay. Got it.
Earned that,
Thank
not
you.
a problem.
Done.
Yeah. Okay, Anjali. So thank you so much. I found today's presentation very comprehensive, and we are going to put this presentation. This has been recorded and it will be put on the YouTube channel of Fintrack Advisors. So anybody who has missed to join today's session, or if you know your friends wanted to attend this session but are unable to attend due to any reason, please do let them know that the session's recording is available on the YouTube channel. And I felt that Anjali has covered the point in very detail. I mean, so we should really listen to her before going for any registration. She has clarified a lot of doubts during this webinar. So thank you, Anjali, so much.
So much.
And I thank all the participants who have taken out time and joined today's session. You all really made the session interactive. And thank you to FinTrack Advisors for giving this platform. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye, and have a good weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.